Okay, I have started recording here. So today what we are going to focus on UFT basically is on descriptive programming. Okay, so the term descriptive programming, get yourself familiar with this term descriptive programming. Okay, it's a very common term in the UFT interviews. Okay, so they will be asking, okay, what is descriptive programming in UFT? So if you have to face an interview question, definitely there will be a question on what is descriptive programming in UFT. So um, remember that so far you have used object repository, right? So far you have used object repository to interact with the object. Is that correct? You have added every objects in the in your object repository, and then from the object repository you have drag and drop those objects in your code or in your function, in your action, right? So what is happening in descriptive programming? Basically you are not going to use this you are not going to use this you know object repository thing. Instead you are going to write description of the object. So the instead of using the object repository, right, you are going to use here the you are going to write the description of the object. You are going to write the description of the object, and I will show you how you can write the description of the object. And before that, let me define this descriptive programming concept. So what is happening here is, in descriptive programming is a mechanism for creating tests where you use programmatic description of object instead of recording them, or instead of adding them in the object repository. Using this technique, QTP or UFT can be made to identify objects that are not in the repository. Those objects are not in the repository. Okay, so there are two types of descriptive programming: static descriptive programming, dynamic descriptive programming. Okay, there are two types of descriptive programming, guys. One is descriptive programming, another one is dynamic descriptive programming. First we will learn static descriptive programming, and then we will go for uh, dynamic descriptive programming. So in static descriptive programming, we write the description for a individual object. Just we work with one object. But in dynamic descriptive programming, we can create a collection of objects by writing a single description. You got it? So we'll see. We'll go through all of this concept here. Okay. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a new test, and feel free to ask me question, guys, anytime. Okay, so I'm going to write a new test, and I'm going to name it as, yeah, that is where I'm going to save. I'm going to name it as, yeah, um let's say I'm going to name it as static descriptive programming example. Create. So the first example that we are going to do, the first example that we are going to do is on static descriptive programming, and then here basically we are not going to use any object repository. You can use both object repository and descriptive programming, but we are not going to use any object repository here. But remember that you can use object repository and descriptive programming both together. Okay, now you come to your action and then write your first method to open the browser. System util dot what is the method that we write to open the browser? System util dot run. Okay, system util dot run, double quotation. Okay, I explore internet explore dot exe, and then you put your browser, let's say new tours dot demo dot com. Got it, guys? System dot run I explore dot exe new tours dot demo dot com. So if you run this, I'm going to save it, and at the moment if you take a look inside the code, we have nothing. There is a local object repository, but there is nothing in it. So every test you open, even though you use the repository or not, it doesn't matter, but there will be a local object repository there always. There is nothing at the moment, but we are not going to use it. Now, can you see we do not have any function library, we have nothing. So if you run this test, let's say you run this test, and always when you run it, you come here, there are two way you can run it. You can select this. What it will do, it will be creating every time you run it inside your test folder, it will be creating a temporary result 1, result 2. If you run it 100 times, it will create 100 folders. Instead of running it in that way, I'm selecting this, so it will not be creating a folder every time you run it. Okay, now let me run it. So what it will do, it will basically open the browser with newtours.demoaut.com. Okay, now how you are going to write the description of the object, right? So what you do guys, from your UFT, right? Can you see this object spy? Take this object spy and take this pointer, and then can you see it at the moment I'm not able to identify any object, but let me do it one more time here. Let me uh, bring it here, and let me take the object spy again. So can you see, if you see things like that, that means it is not identifying the object. We will have to see why it is not identifying the object. But let me see. No, no object is identifiable. So let me take a look what is happening here. So if I go there and settings, and then we have we have to make sure that your zoom level is 100%, and then compatibility view settings. Okay, this is not the issue. Let me start this browser manually. Okay, now let me take the subject spy. It is identifying, right? If you see browser page like this, that means it is identifying. Okay, now let me do this so there is no problem. So new tools.demoaut.com, let me go there. Let me run it one more time. Let's see if I bring this new tools, right, in this way, and then it's good. Now it is identifying, right? Okay, very good. Let me copy this URL from here. Let me run it one more time. Okay, now, okay, now it is good, right? Can you guys see? Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to click on this object to identify it, and then from there, so this is the object's description. This is the object, like, this is the object that we are seeing in the page. It has a browser. Can you see? It has a browser, and then it has a page, and then you will see browser page, and then finally under that there is a web edit. Whatever in between, ignore it. You got it? So first of all browser, and then page, and then the root level of the object, whatever you are interacting with, is a web edit. Okay, in um, now, so what I am going to do, so I'm going to click on this browser, and then I'm going to copy the attribute. So remember, I'm doing static descriptive programming. So what I did, I click on this browser object and clicked copy, and then I'm going to go there and I'm going to open a notepad. notepad. I'm going to put it here. Okay. Now you have the description for the browser. Now you will see that what is the class name? Browser. And then this browser object has different attributes. Can you see absolute x, absolute y, additional f, some of the values, some of the, like if you see after equal to 077 there is a value, and some of the attribute you will see there is no value. Can you see in the name there is a value, right? But for now, let's not worry about this. So I got the description for the browser. Then I'll go back to that object identification spy, and I'll take the description for the page. I'll click on the page, and then I'll be clicking on copy, and then I'll be coming here, I'll be pasting it. Now I got the description for the, can you see class name page? That means this is the description for the page. And then I'm coming here, I'm going to go to again on the object identification spy, and then all the way down, can you see web edit username, right? Can you see that guys, give me a second, daddy. Oh my god, you're missing one nail. Oh man, how did it happen? Oh man. Okay, okay, daddy. Guys, give me a second. Let me take care of something real quick, and we'll come back. Just 30 second, probably 1 minute. Guys, I'm back. So now, can you see this root level object web edit? I'm going to copy the attribute for that, and in the same notepad, I'm going to put this attribute. Now, can you see class name web edit, and it has lot of attributes. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do, so you can see the hierarchy, right? First browser, and then page, and then web edit. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to close that. I'm going to go to my action. I'm going to write it here. I'm going to write something here. So what is that hierarchy you saw? Browser dot page dot, yeah, yeah, web edit. Now what do you do? Browser dot page dot web edit. Now you go there. So in your browser, find a attribute or properties that you can use to identify that. First you see if you have a ID or HTML ID, right? We do not have a attribute called HTML ID. So then take a look if you have a name or title. So we have a name. You see we have a name. I'm going to, can you see what I'm doing? I'm copying from the double quote to double quote. Can you see I'm copying from the double quote to the double quote, and then I'm going to put it here, okay, to identify browser. And then for the page, let me take a look. What do I have? So page starts here. You cannot use this number. This number will be changed. Can you see 077? This you cannot use this. This HWND, it will be changed every time. So can you see there is a title here? I'm going to use this title, name, title, HTML ID. These are good for identifying the object. So I'm going to copy this, and then I'm going to put it here, right? And then I'm going to go for that web edit. Let's take a look. Let's take a look. What do I have in the web edit? So if you take a look, there is a, can you see HTML ID, guys? I have HTML ID here, but there is no value. No value for that HTML ID. So I'm not going to use it. Instead, I'm going to, there is a name, right? Username. So I'm going to use that. Okay. So let's copy this and put it here. Okay. Now, now I'm going to say dot set, set, right? And then what is the value I want to set? I'm going to set automate code 1, right? Now, let's say that this browser, every time you want to run it, you want to close this browser. So for closing, what is the function that you are going to, what is the method that you are going to call? System util dot close process by name. Close process by name. And what is the process that you want to close? I explore .exe. What it will do? It will be closing all of the existing Internet Explorer. Okay. Let's say I have this Internet Explorer, right? And then let's say you have another Internet Explorer. You have another Internet Explorer, right? So how many Internet Explorer I have now? Two, right? One is that new tours, another one is that MSN, right? Now, if you run it, it will be closing all of this Internet Explorer instance, and then it will be opening a new Internet Explorer browser. Okay, it has closed all of the browser. Now it is, can you see it was able to input automate code on that text box, right? Now, so we are going to, same way we are going to input the password. So we know the password text box is in the same page of, it has same browser, it has same page, only this element is different. So what I am going to do, again I'm going to use my object spy. I'm going to use my object spy, and then I'm going to identify this, and I only need this web edit password description, because I already have the description for the browser and the page. So here I'm going to put, okay. Now can you see web edit again, and what is the, it does, it has an HTML ID? No, it has a, it has a name type, it has a type, it has a name. Where is the name? Name is here, right? So what I'm going to do, name, what is the name? Password. So I'm going to go to my action. Guys, are you having any question? How about others? Manjima? Very good, very good. Yeah, so let's go there. These are straightforward stuff. So now you come here, our browser page, everything is same. Okay. Now this web edit name, instead of username, it will be password. And you will have to make sure that if it is uppercase, you are using uppercase. If it is lowercase, you are using lowercase. Okay. Now, so in the password, I want to include, what is the password? L1234 5, right? Now I got the description. Again, guys, what I'm doing, I'm doing static descriptive programming. Then you come here, then we are going to do another thing. We are going to click on that. We are going to click on that sign in button, right? So you'll have to identify this sign in button. So what you do, you take the object spy again, and then you identify, you click, right? Now, can you see our browser page is same? Only this image, we'll have to click on this image. So I'm going to copy the description of this image, and then I'm going to put it here. Okay. Now, can you see class name image, right? Class name image, and then does it has an HTML ID? No. Does it have any other identification property? There is a image type. There is a alternative text, right? Then and then there is a file name that we can use, and then this src, I'm not going to use this src. Let me see if I have anything. I'm going to use this image type, image button, to see if it works. Okay, or I'm going to use this alt attribute to identify this object. Now, so I'm going to copy again this, right? Now here, instead of web edit, it is what? It is image. So I'm going to put, where do you get this image word? You get it from here. If you take a look, class name, it is image. I'm going to use this, yeah, alt, yeah, I'm going to use this, and then I'm going to put it here. And then we want to click on it. Instead of set, I want to dot click. Now you run it one more time. So now it has clicked on the sign in button. Guys, can you see it has clicked on the sign in button? Now, if you take a look, we are now signed in. Does it make sense to you guys? Up to this, do you have any question up to this? Who has question up to this? Why not you are coming up with question if you have one? Yeah, that is correct. It is kind of similar to Java, but but it is a little bit easier, right? Even though you are writing descriptive programming, it is kind of easier. Now, now let's say that so far, Monjima, Rachel, Javed, you do not have any question, right? We did so far. This is what we are calling static descriptive programming. Static descriptive programming. So here you work with one object at a time. What you work with? You work with one object at a time. Got it? So we, hmm, sure, one object, yeah. Uh-huh. So when you record, basically, let's say you open browser and then you input a username, you input a password, and then you click on a button. So you can record everything at a time together. A recording is a different thing. Hmm. Yeah, Yeah. They'll be collecting different attributes. Systematic way they will be putting different attributes in the object repository to identify the object. So up to this, like you can now you can create a function library here, right? Let's say you can create new, and then do I have a function library here? No. Okay, let me go there. You can uh, file and then new, right? And then function library, and then it will give you option. Okay, what is the name that you want to give on your function library? Let's say you say func lib1 create. Right now in that function library you can say func, right, give a name. Let's say open brow browser, and then here I'm not going to write too many function, guys. I'll keep it straightforward. I'll take all of this from here to my function library, right? Okay, and then I'm going to write another function for login. Okay, and then for login I'm going to bring all of this code from action, right? Okay, now you call this in your action class. Open browser, and then what is the other function? Login. Now if I run it, why? Are you sure? Oh, oops, what happened? Guys, can you tell me? Rachel and Monjima, can you tell me what happened? Oh, we have written the functions, but with our test, can you see there is no function library here? So what you will have to do, on your test name, you right click and then add associate function library, and then you go there. This is the one that we have created today, right? You click on this, say yes, and save. Now you run it. Okay, everything good? Okay, so we are done with static descriptive programming. So that is how you do static descriptive programming. Now I'm going to bring dynamic descriptive programming. Okay, what are you going to do now? Dynamic descriptive programming. So let's do another test. I'm going to create a new test. So in descriptive dynamic programming, what we do, instead of dealing with one object at a time, collection of we create collection of object. What we do, we create collection of object. So you'll see what I do. So first of all, again, I'll be opening the browser. Okay, let me copy this. Right now. Okay, now let me show you what I mean. Let's say that, guys, let's say that in this page, right? In this page, however many links you have, can you see? You have all of the links, right? You want to create, you know what is link, is that correct? Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to write description so that it will be highlighting all of the links. Okay, I'm going to write description of object. It will be create the description of all of the links in this page and it will be highlighting those links. So again, I'm telling you, I'm going to create a collection of objects here. How I will do that? So let's say dim, let's say um, link ob objects. Okay, so what is that dim? Remember, guys, remember if you have to use a variable in Java, first of all, you have to declare it with int or double or float, right? Or a string, right? In Java, what you have to do? You have to say int or string or double, right? In VB scripting, remember in UFT, we are using VB scripting, right? If you have to create a variable, you have to create it by using dim. You do not have to say what type of variable it is, whether it is integer, double, or whatever. You do not have to say that, but you'll have to declare it with dim. Okay, dim means it can be any type, dim. Any, you can store any value in it. Okay, now to create the description, okay, you have to do it in that way. Set. Now what is the object that we are trying to what is the object that we are trying to, this is the this is the object variable, collection of objects. Set. Now I'm putting equal to description dot create. This is the syntax. First of all, you'll have to give your name of the object and then you'll have to set, and then what you'll have to set, description dot create. Description dot create. Now, guys, if you take a look, let's say what is our consideration? Our consideration is to create the description of all of this link, right? So if you do something like this, if you take your object spy and then if you identify, right, identify one of the object, can you see what is the type of this object? Link. Can you see what is the type of this object? Link. This is not web edit, this is link, right? What is the type of the object? If you just copy, right, if you just copy and then if you put it here, now what is the class name? What is the class name? Link. Does it make sense? Okay, so what we are going to do here, guys, here after doing this, we are going to say this one, right? This is the object, and then we are going to say in the parentheses we are going to put mic class, mic class, and then dot value equal to, what is the, what is the type of this object? Link. What is the type of this object, guys? What is the class name of this object? Can you see? Capital uppercase LINK, right? That is what I put. So what did I do, guys? First of all, I declared a variable by dim statement, and then I want to create a description for this variable. So I had another line number 3, set, and then description dot create, and then I'm saying that the class of this object is link. Does it make sense? Okay. Now what I'm going to do is, let me show you. I'm going to write a for loop here. Okay. So I'm going to say for I equal to 0. I'm going to start with 0. I equal to 0 to what? To um, this one. This is the one, right? This one dot this one dot um, this one dot. So here what is happening is we need to find out, how many object we have in this description. Okay. So to do that, um, guys, what I'm putting here, this link objects dot count, and then I'm going to put -1. I'll tell you why I'm putting -1. Okay. Now here I'm going to say link objects and then I dot highlight. Now if you let me close this browser and run it. So it's saying that property highlight, right? Link objects highlight object doesn't support this property highlight. So it's saying that link objects I is not supporting this highlight. Okay. So what I'm going to do here is why it is not supporting this highlight, right? So we'll have to find out the reason why it is not supporting this highlight thing. So to do that, what I'm going to do here is, let me just stop here, and then what I'm going to do is putting a wait time here. I do not need this func library. I'm going to come here. Highlight. Okay. Description dot create make class value link. Let me see first of all how many objects I'm getting. I'm going to do a print statement here. Let me put a breakpoint here. Let me run it one more time. Let me also type another statement here to close the browser. Close process by name. Okay, now let me run it one more time. Okay, now guys, can you see, like, in the count, what do you see? What is the number you see in the count? In the output, right? Can you see anything in the output? So do we really have One, do you really have one object? Do you really have one object there? One link there in the page? So so if you now let me bring it in that way. We have many links. So what is happening in the action, right? Before we do this, right? Now, so here we have many links, but instead it is showing only one link. We'll have to find out why it is showing only one link. Because I know that we have so many links, it should at least bring. Um, Now let's take a look here. Link objects, make class, and then when I'm trying to print here, link objects dot count, it is giving me only one object. But in this page, as you can see, if you inspect by yourself, right? Can you do an inspection by yourself and see like what do you see here in all of these object, right? Can you see all of this blue object? What type of this one? What does it come? Can you see from your end? What object property you see? Is it link or what? Have you got anything? So what do you see in these objects? Yeah, can you hear me? So what do you see like when you inspect this object? What do you see in this mhm, in this page? Like when you inspect this object, right? What do you see? What is the object type you see? Are these link? All of these are link, right? So we have like if you look at our the description that we have written, right? Can you see that we have written a description? We have written a description, but this is a link objects. We have created a variable. We'll have to create another variable, dim desk, okay, dim desk. Now what you do, basically instead of first you create a description, we have created it in a little bit wrong way. So you create this description in this way. We have created this description, and then what we are going to do, ready? Bye, Abu. Okay, bye. So then we are going to do is, can you see this link objects? You come here, you put this link object. Now we are going to put all the objects that satisfy this description here in this way. So how it will work? So if you take a look now, if you go there and then if you inspect any of this link, right? Basically, if you come here, we already have this browser and page, right? So what I'm going to do here, so browser and then page, and then we'll do something. But before that, let me, so for the browser, this is the name, right? And for the page, this is the one, right? And then here, if you put a dot, right? Right? If you put a dot, then you will get something called child objects. Can you see child objects? Right? Child objects, and what child, there are a lot of child objects under this page. If you look at here, if you look at here, there are a lot of, under this page there are a lot of objects, right? This is an object, this is an object, this is an object, this is an object, this is an object. There are different kind of objects. Some of them are links, some of them are web edits, some of them are image, right? What kind of child object you want to bring? So the description of the, now you put the description, you have created this description, right? You put this, you put this description here. Now what is the description says? The description says that we are trying to bring all of the link. Now if you do link objects dot count, right, you will see what happens. Let me it will be closing the browser automatically, so let me run it one more time. I'll be answering your question. Okay, now wrong number of arguments or invalid property assignment. So in which line? In line number 7. Line number 7, it is saying that invalid property or wrong number of arguments. Let's see what invalid property we have put there. So if you do a debug, right? Let me see, browser, we have browser, page, we have page, and then child objects, we have the description. So now it is saying that we have a um, okay, let me bring recording. Now if you take a look, guys, so what do you see at the moment? In the output you see 1, right? Now if you run this, right, you'll see that it will be highlighting sign on. Have you seen it has highlighted sign on? Because I have, so what I had to do, the mistake that we did here is, whenever you are working with object, you'll have to use this set statement. Okay, now what we did, we have focused on only sign on link. Now if you comment out this, if you comment out this sign on, right, now it will be bringing all of the links from this page. Let me run it one more time. Okay, So I'm going to run it instead of having this. I'm going to remove this breakpoint, and then can you see it is highlighting all of these links? Can you see? And then we are done basically. So what is it not interesting? It is interesting, right? So what we did, now try to understand. We have two variable. One is the list of objects, another one is a description. In the description variable, you can give any name. We have created a description first, and what type of object? It is all of the link. And then if you want to specify a particular link, then you provide another description, but I'm not going to go for a specific link. And then I'm going to say set link objects. I'm going to say from where. I'm going to give the description of the browser, going to description of the page, and from that page, I'm asking bring all of the objects, bring all of the child objects which satisfy this description. Bring all of the child objects which satisfy this description, and put all of this object in this variable. So that means now this variable will have all of the link object. And then I'm printing how many links I have. Can you see? 16 link I have. I'm printing it. And after that, remember, this is an array. This is an array. An array index start from 0. And how many element it has? 16. And if it starts from 0, it will be going from 0 to 15, right? So that's why I put here for I equal to 0 to link objects count minus 1. I do not need to go to up to 16. I need to go up to 15. So that's why I put 0 to 15. And then what I'm doing, can you see link object 0, link object 1, link object 2? It will be going in that way, and it will be highlighting. Is it clear? Who has question? Guys, this is the prime time to ask question. Yeah, where? These two variables. One is for the description, like when you are bringing the object, what description, right? So if you one remember that one is for identification, another one is for container, right? So let's say I ask you, hey, Rachel, go to Global Mall, okay, and buy me some Eid gift. Okay. So what type of gift? I ask you, okay, give me some yellow shari that I can give zakat. Okay. So you went to Global Mall, and your criteria is buy yellow shari, right? So yellow shari is the description, and then you buy it and put it in a luggage. Luggage is this link object, right? And this is your description, yellow shari. So you are going to Global Mall, and then what is your description? Yellow shari. And then where are you? You are buying it and putting it in a luggage. This is your luggage. In this luggage, you can have many yellow shari. Got it? Now, let's say instead of link, right? You know that instead of link, we have many other type of object. Let's say if you inspect this object. Oh, actually, if you take your object repository, right? And can you see this is an object? And what is the type of that object? Image. So if you create a description of image instead of link, right? Now if you run it, let me remove this breakpoint from here. It's not gone. Okay. So now how many images we have? 26. How many we have? 26. Now let me run it. Can you see what it is doing? Guys, can you see? Yeah. Every image in this page, it is going to be highlighted. Okay. Now, let's say if you inspect this one, right? Let's say this one. What is the name of this object? Web element. What is the make class of this object? Web element. How do you know it is web element? You copy it and put it in a notepad. And then can you see class name web element? You copy this word, right? And then instead of image, now I'm going to create a description of the web element, right? Now you run it one more time. Okay. Now you'll see that it will be highlighting only the web elements. There are a lot of web elements here. There are a lot of web elements inside. There are web elements inside web elements, so you'll see a lot of highlight here. Are you seeing this highlight? Okay. So let me not go through all of this highlight here because it might take a pretty long time to finish this. How many? Let me see how many web elements we have in this page. If I go there in my code, oh, it is working pretty fast. Now let it finish because it seems like I'll have to close the browser to stop this execution. Actually, it will take long. Let me close this browser. Okay, now 267 web element we have there. Okay, so that's how you can create multiple of description. Now, if you take a look, guys, one thing, let me bring this page again. Let me put a breakpoint here. Okay. Now, if you come here, this particular part, right? Let's say that inspect. Oh, not inspect again. If you take your object spy and then if you go there, right? So this link, if you copy the description of this link, right? We know that link, these are link. But if you take a look, I'm trying to find out something. Let me take a look. Destinations, font, registered. Um, okay, let me see. Cancel. If I go there, this web table, right? If you highlight it, so this is the web table, right? Now what is the description of this web table? I'm trying to do something. If I can do it, I'll tell you what it is, what I'm doing. Okay, now let me go there. Now this is a web table, right? So what I'm going to do, instead of in my action, instead of web element, now I'm going to create a description of link again, link, and then here page, and after page I'm going to say page dot web table, and then what is the description of this web table? Column name, home, row 7, visible to HTML tag, web table, column name, home, account name, is there any text, home, rental, true. So let's say I'm going to take this description, column names, home. Okay, now let me, there might be an error, but let's see if it works, and then I'll tell you what I'm doing. Okay, so how many objects I have here? 7. Now if you run it, you'll see that it will be identifying only the links inside a particular place. It will not be identifying all of the links. Have you seen what it did, guys? Let me run it one more time. Notice and yeah, notice and tell me the difference and how I made this difference. Okay, so see, it is identifying links, but is it identifying all of the links of the page? After identifying vacation, it is exiting out. Is it identifying all of the objects of the page? That vertical one. It has identified all of the objects from this vertical one. Now, let's say I'm taking one object from here. Let me, I mean, before that link, there is a web table, right? Highlight this web table. Can you see where it is pointing? Now, you go there for this web table, capture the description, put it in a notepad. Okay, now again this is a web table, and what is the description of this web table? Can you see column names, right? I'm going to take this description, and in the web table itself, in the action, right, can you see after browser, after page, I have another, I'm giving another description for a web table, and from this web table I'm getting all of the child objects. Now if you run it, so how many object I have now? Four. How I have four objects. Now if you can you see, now it will be highlighting only objects from that particular portion. Who has questions so far? Guys, who has questions so far? Okay, now can you all create a description, right? Can you all create a description for this part? Let me see if you can create it. Can you create a description for this part and help me help me, what is your understanding? I'm trying to see what is your understanding. Will you be able to create a description now? You want me to give it as homework? But you understood, right? Okay, all right. Now, all right, then I'll send the video so that you can study and but the concept of the static and dynamic descriptive programming is clear, right? They'll be asking you a question from this in the interview. Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, this is where you are creating so many objects, right? It is not involving one object. It involves multiple objects. That's why. So, like when you are working with complex scripting, you will have to do this dynamic descriptive programming a lot. In your real work, you'll have to do a lot of this dynamic descriptive programming. Okay. Now, okay, I'll let you guys work on it and send me the homework on this, like how to create dynamic descriptive programming. Hmm. For the dynamic, if you just want to, if you, let's say, let's do one thing. Let's try to input value on this text box. So now, so if you, let's say you want to create, oh, let me take the object spy. So this is web edit, right? I'm going to create description for this. Okay, so now what is the class name? Web edit, right? Now you go there, you put web edit. Okay, now if you run it, okay, how many web edit do we have? How many web edit do we have? Zero. Why? Because can anyone tell me why we have zero web edit? Guys, can you tell me why you have zero web edit? I certainly know that we have at least two web edit here, right? No, we have it doesn't matter what name you provide. It matters what you are providing here. So what happens this web table, right? Right? This web table means we pointed this one. Do I have any web edit here? No. We need to remove this web table. Okay? Now you run it. Now how many web edit we have? Hmm? How many two? Can you see? Now we have two web edit. Now if you run it, can you see? Right? Now if you want to input value in that web edit, how will you do that? You take this dot set, and then what do you want to set? Let's say, you know, let's say that no, let's say we do not. You want to put anything. Let's say you want to input the value of I, the value of I in this text box. Okay. Now you run it. Okay. Now let me run it. Can you see it has input 0, 1 in the password? Makes sense? So I'm inputting the value of I. The value of I means in the beginning of the loop, the value of I is 0. We do not know what it input here, but we know that it will be 1 because what? Because um, it is encrypted. So first time it will be inputting value in the first text box, which is I. Next time it will be inputting the value. You can input anything. Let's say instead of I, you can input ABC. Okay, let me remove this breakpoint. Okay, yeah, both are ABC. Separate. So if you want to input separate, then what you will have to do here if I, oh actually, if in space, if I equal to 1, I equal to 0, then 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 set, let's say, automate code 1, and then else, right? Else, right? Else set L 1 2 3 4 5. Okay, for clicking sign in, it will not be clicking sign in because sign in is not a link, right? Sign in is not a web edit. You got it? Got it? It has input automate code and then L1 2 3 4 5. Make sense, guys? Okay. So any more question? Manjima, do you have any question? Okay. So you want to bring your problem that you wanted, you are having problem. Okay. So Javed, can you bring your example that you have created and share it with us? I think Manjima is having problem in that text comparison. But in the meantime, guys, if you do not have any question, let me stop this recording, okay? And Javed, in the meantime, yeah, please bring your example. Let's see where Manjima has problem so that you can explain it. And I'm going to stop this recording. I'll be sending you the link soon, okay? Thank you.